Hey Gail. Hi friends, this is Kristen Fagan here with a new episode of Free Spirit Beading on the Softlex Company YouTube channel. Let me just turn off my sound. That's better. Welcome. So this week at softlexcompany.com, we are looking at metallic beading wire. Ooh, so luscious and beautiful. Here are some of our, or all of our metallic colors. Hi, Fern. So we're currently running a special 20% off of our antique brass color, our copper color, and our champagne color beading wire. And that includes all the diameters and all the lengths. So you can get the fine, the medium, or the heavy. You can get 10 foot, 30 foot, 50 foot, 100 foot, even 1,000 foot for 20% off. I'm gonna be working with the antique brass color today, and that is this one. It's one of my favorites. It's a great neutral to have on hand, and if you'd like to work in more of that oxidized brass or antique brass, those kind of colors, if you like to work with vintage materials, it lends itself beautifully. Hi Becky, hi Lydia. Hi Jervia, who else is here? And Fern. Penny's here. Oh, love the brass. Used it with the Spice Market beads for my mask lanyard, Penny says. Yes, and I'm gonna be using the Spice Market beads again today. I cannot believe how many projects I've gotten out of the Spice Market Czech Glass bead mix. It was a large bead mix, and I think I've done like at least 3 videos. I still have some left. And today I'm going to be working with some of the yellow beads and pairing that with the antique brass for a vintage, sweet vintage style necklace. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'll show you guys just some examples of the 3 different colors that are on sale: antique brass, copper, and champagne, so you can see the difference in how those look when it's in an actual jewelry design. Hi Sylvia. And like I said, it is 20% off of the copper, the antique brass, and the champagne colors this week. Oh, I also wanted to mention, we found some of the extreme 24 karat gold in a few spools of fine and medium. They put them up on Friday, and I think all the fine actually have been sold out already. And we've got about 18 spools of the 24 karat gold medium 30 foot wire. And once that's gone, it's gone for a while. Because of gold pricing, we are not planning to order it anytime soon. We'll have it back someday. But if you want, if you like the gold or want to have a little bit on hand, now is the time to pick it up. This is not on sale. The gold is not on sale, but we did have it totally sold out up until on Friday. We loaded up a small limited supply, and like I said, the fine is already gone. The medium is what is left. Hi Sheila, hi Deborah. Deborah says, brass is my favorite color findings. Every time I make a piece that I think I'll sell, by the time I'm done, I end up keeping it. I know brass is so pretty, and you can use it with, we don't have an antique brass crimp, but you can use it with the gold filled crimp tube, which is what I use a lot of the time, or you can do it with copper, and either one will work with it really well. You could probably even use black and it would sort of disappear a little bit. So, and if you're mixing other metals, if you're mixing it with other silver, then of course you can use some silver in there too. Yeah, the brass is a super pretty color. All right, so let's get down and talk a little bit more about these beautiful wires. Let's see here. So first I'll show you, these are sweet little pair of earrings that are made with the copper wire and then finished with gold findings. But the copper wire lent itself really well to this coppery color crystal. And this is another one that uses copper wire and then is finished with copper ear wire and copper crimps. So you can see what that looks like. This is what the spool looks like. It's a copper color. We call it our metallics, but it's actually just the regular Softflex beading wire line. You can find it in the Softflex fine, medium, or heavy sections. And it comes in those 3 diameters, fine, medium, and heavy. The color looks just like that. And it's not real copper. This is a copper color that is then coated in nylon, and it has a real nice copper finish to it. Now it's the same thing with the antique brass. This is the antique brass color. It's not a metal of any kind, but it's a color that has then got the nylon coating on it. Both of these are 49 strand. They are, the fine is 21 strands, the medium is 49 strand in both colors, and they are made with a stainless steel core, micro braided. They got the color put on top and then a nylon coating on top of that. So there won't be any tarnishing, there won't be any flaking, there won't be any issues with the actual color of the wire. Now our extreme line, the one we have on sale right now, is the champagne, and that's what this color looks like. It's very soft. This is actually the natural color of the wire that's underneath. The extreme is made with a copper core versus the stainless steel core that is on the regular Softflex. This one's made with a copper core. It has a very different construction, so it is 19 strands, but it's not comparable to the 49 strand that we have here. The construction's actually different the way that they take those strands and put them together. So it's not apples to apples when you're looking at strands on that. And then we carry them in the champagne, which is basically just showing the copper alloy below with a nylon coating on top. So this one is the 24 karat gold, which is 24 karat gold plated. So that really has the plated metal in there. And then it has a nylon color on top. And then this one is the 925 sterling silver plated. Again, has the plated metal right on the wire and then a nylon coating on top of that to protect those as well. So that's the difference between the two lines. And we've got the champagne on sale along with the copper and the antique brass. So those are the 3 that are currently 20% off until tomorrow. And that is for retail orders. It's not, doesn't have any other discounts on top of that. If you're a designer, you would just get your designer discounts. If you are a designer, you have a retail license and you're not set up with us, you can contact us at info@softflexcompany.com and we can get you set up with the wholesale designer discounts. Okay, so let me show you. I showed you the copper, just so you have a feel of what it looks like in a jewelry design. Those two use the copper. Now, this one uses the antique brass, and it's got these antique brass colored tilas, I believe they're called. They're a 2-hole seed bead. And this design was from the book Sarah and I did, Seed Bead Revolution, where we use these 2 whole seed beads in unique and different ways. Here's another design that uses the antique brass. Hi Pamela, thanks for joining us. And here is another design where the antique brass is used in these connectors. So that's the color we're going to use today. I'm going to show you one design that I have here with champagne. So this one uses the champagne color so that you can see what this one looks like. And the champagne is just a soft color. I don't know how to explain it other than it being like sort of a little bit rosy, like a rose gold. It's got that little coppery color, but it's very soft, very delicate, really pretty. Today, we are gonna work on this design here. So we're gonna work on this necklace, which starts with these 2 little brass pendants. This one is a patina painted pendant, and I have a video where we painted this last year over on the Softlex Company YouTube channel. I linked that video in the description. So if you wanna see how I painted this, you can go to the description of this video and click on that link to see the patina painted video. And just for a quick overview, I'll show you guys what those are. We talked about them a little bit the other day when I did the wood pendant, because I used these on that as well. These are the 4 colors that I used on here. They are ruby, opalite, golden agate, and green opal. And patina paints are made especially for metal, but you can use them on other materials like wood, burlap, glass, fabric, just a handful of other stuff that it works on. It's water-based. You can clean them up while you're working, but once they dry, it is permanent. So if I came back now, I made this a year ago, and I put water on it, it's not going to come off. But if I'm working and they're still wet, I can use water to clean up my brushes. I can use water to clean up anything that I want to take the paint off of. And then you can use either a very fine sandpaper, a nail buffer, like a buffer for your nails, or Vintaj sells a buffer that you can use, and that will help expose some of the metal below it. You can seal it. They do sell a glaze. I've never sealed them, and they hold up just fine. But if you wanted to be extra precautions, you can always seal it. And I believe you can also use a heat tool, and that will seal it as well. So you can either use the glaze or a heat tool. Pamela, you got me on the TV? Oh my goodness, I'm on the big screen. It does help to be able to see things, doesn't it, when I have it on the big screen like that? I watch a lot of YouTube videos on my TV as well. So for those of you that either have a smart TV or maybe have a TV where you can shoot the video over, you can watch me on television. So that's a little bit about the pendant. And then this here is our toggle clasp that I'm using as a focal. So I'm gonna show you guys that. We sell these. They're from TierraCast. Angie, I missed what you said, but what did you say about sealing the pendant after you patina it? Okay, so when you use the patina paints, they dry permanent. You do not have to seal them. If you want to seal them, they do sell a glaze that is by the same company, Ranger for Vintaj, Vintaj. and they sell a glaze you can put over it to seal it. You can also seal it with heat. So if you have a heat gun, you can seal it that way. Just be careful, it is metal, you don't want to melt it, so you just go over kind of lightly. But you do not have to seal it. So that's something that's really nice. So these are the ellipse toggle clasps we carry, and we carry them in rhodium, bright silver. We have this black gunmetal, black color, copper, gold, and then this one is called the oxidized brass that I'm using today. I love this color. It is definitely my favorite color. But this is actually a toggle clasp. I originally was thinking maybe I'll put the toggle here and close it, but then I decided not to. I liked how it looked as a focal, so I just used this piece of the toggle. It's a really nice way to also use a toggle if you have lost the other part. You know, toggles come with this part and then the bar to close it. If you lose that bar and you just have this piece here, you can still use it as a focal. So just a little tip there. So that's what I put right here connecting to the pendant. We also sell these wonderful hammer rings. So you could use that in place of the ellipse too, if you want to do that. Is just a different look. And we sell those in all of the same color metals that I just said for the ellipse, so they all match. And we also sell them in 3 different sizes. So we have a small, a medium, and then this one is the large. I do know that sometimes we've had a hard time keeping them in stock. They go fast, so you might not be able to find every metal tone at all times, but we are working with trying to keep up with that and get to a point where we do have all of them in stock at all times. Okay, so let me move this guy a little bit. So the tools I've got here today are a pair of cutters and a pair of crimping pliers. I've got my magical crimping pliers here. I am using the Czech Glass bead mix. This is what I've got left after today's project. I still have so many left. It's crazy how many beads were in this mix. Thanks, Suzanne. I hope you can see it. I keep moving it around. Okay, there we go. I think you can see that better there. So I have pulled out all of these yellow beads from the Czech Glass bead mix. The only things I've added are 4 of these spacers, which came in a Jesse James bead mix a while back from us. So any little brass or gold spacer will do there. And these are the beads we're going to use up the other side. In addition, I am using these teeny tiny little delicas. I believe these are a size 11, and they're about 1 millimeter in size. And I liked how they picked up this little bit of that green blue color in the pendant. So we're just using those as some spacer beads. The first thing you need to do is cut your wire. I cut 2 strands 30 inches each because I'm doing a 2-strand design on each side. So cut yourself 2 strands of 30 inches each. Then you're going to take one of your strands like I did here, string it through this ellipse, the little hole in that. See if I can get even closer down here. And then using a 2x2mm crimp tube in gold filled, you're just gonna put that down both strands to attach it down here. And now I'm gonna crimp that closed. So when you're using the magical crimping pliers, you gotta be sure to get that crimp right in the center of the notch. There's two, there we go. And it'll pinch all four corners. So you see there's one notch here. There's like two rounded edges on each side. You wanna get that crimp right in the center. Give it a nice squeeze. It'll give you those four pinched corners. You're gonna turn either your tool or your crimp 90 degrees. Place it back in there again in the center, give it another squeeze, and then you're gonna rotate that crimp around a few times, keeping it in the center, rolling it around. And what it should do is create a little bead. It does take some practice, but once you get it, you will love, 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 love these pliers. Suzanne loves that I use the toggle as a connector. Yeah, I thought it was fun to, I originally was gonna just have it like connect here, but I found I didn't like how it was laying. So I decided, you know, I really love the shape of this. And so now I'm holding it upside down, but I thought it would be really fun to add a little bit extra and give a little more weight to the bottom of the pendant. So now I've got two strands to work with. And I'm gonna start by adding these little yellow beads. One on, let me make sure I did it the right way. So one first on one strand, and then followed by a delica, like that. And on the other strand, I did the opposite. I did one little delica first, followed by, so see how I've got one way, one the other way. It doesn't matter which one is which. I just did that so that when I push them down here to the bottom, that I liked the way they laid, being opposite like that. So they are one on each, and then I'm gonna pick up one of these larger golden colored beads, and this fits down both strands. So I'm gonna put both strands down the one bead, like so. And so now we're starting a little bit of a pattern with some peekaboo wire. Let me turn myself around here. There we go. So next in my pattern is one of those spacer beads, and those can fit easily down two strands. And next I did two delicas again. Yes, you could totally use crimp covers and patina paint to match the beads. I think that's a great idea. So if you are working with, if you have patina paint and you're working with a design where you don't have the matching crimps or crimp covers that you'd like, you can easily, or even spacer beads. I mean, I can paint these, you can paint these little guys too. So if for some reason you were working and you had different metal tones than you wanted, you can paint those with the patina paint, or you can paint the crimps to match, which is really, really fun. having a few patina paints on hand, I do think opens up another possibility with your jewelry design. Suzanne says you guys have to stop having live sales so I can afford to get the kits. I know those live sales can be a doozy, can't they? We are still wrapping up the last live sale. I'm sure you guys won't hear for a couple of days from James. I know that they've been pulling them and working on them already. There's just so many pretty things on those live sales, and we've been doing them every 3 weeks, I think, is where we're at the moment. This particular bead, this came in the Czech Glass bead mix. There's a couple I got of these. I think I got 6 total of these 2-hole beads. And these are actually what started my design idea, is I wanted to use these, and I'll show you why. So in this case, because it's 2 holes, you're just gonna string each strand through one of the holes. So if you look at this one that I've already done, these little 2-hole beads really open up the design and allow the wire to peek through. And that's kind of what started the whole, that's what started the whole design idea on this one, were these little guys. For those of you that have gotten the Czech Glass bead mix, I do know that not everyone gets the same thing. You should get some of the same things, but maybe not in the same quantity. So someone may have more 2-hole beads, or someone may have less 2-hole beads. But I look like I got about 6 in my mix. I ended up using them all in this design. And so I'm just repeating my pattern here, which is a golden bead. I've got one of these spacers, and then I've got 2 delicas, and then I have another bead, and that's supposed to be 2 delicas, and it looks like a third one snuck in there, but I don't think you'll really notice because they're so small, so I'm just gonna leave it. But it should be 2, and then 2 there, and then this guy. So between each one, I'm adding 2 little delicas just to add a pop of color. I hope that doesn't bother too many of you that I'm leaving it there. But I feel like it's small enough that it'll be okay. So where am I at now? Oh. This is what happens when you talk and bead. Oh, Suzanne, you got a lot this time. You're gonna be so happy with everything you got from the live sale. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Softlex Company does live bead sales over on the Softlex Facebook page every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks or so. And they are full of unique beads and findings and wire. We do one from Mike Sherman, one of the owners of the company. We do one from his private collection, and then we do another from the Softlex Gallery and Warehouse. We alternate back between the two. And there's just so many beautiful things on those sales. I laugh because I keep telling myself each time, I'm like, okay, I have so many beads to work with. I'm not gonna shop this time. And then inevitably I end up putting in a bid for something. I don't always get it though, because that's one of the things there, you know, there are a lot of things that are limited in supply. Like maybe we just have a handful of them. So sometimes even just one could be just that limited. So I don't always win, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun to shop for beads. Hi, Kathleen. I'm glad you joined us. We are working with Softlex antique brass color beading wire and some beads from the Spice Market Czech Glass bead mix. I should mention that I think we have 4 left of the Czech Glass bead mix. So that one's getting pretty low, and that obviously that's like a seasonal mix for the fall, so we're not going to get that one back in stock anymore. But all of these golden colored beads, all of the yellow beads that I'm using are all from the Spice Market bead mix. And then our antique brass wire is 20% off until tomorrow, along with our copper and our champagne. And you can find those at softlexcompany.com. We always put the sale of the week, oh gosh. We always put the sale of the week right on the home page, so it should be easy to find. I think the last sale, the last live bead sale, I bought, what did I get? Well, I got some conch shell beads, and I got some agate, which I think it's called Divvy or Dizzy, when it has like a kind of an etched pattern in it. I was thinking about my dad. I've been trying to make him more jewelry. So whenever I see things that are like, oh, that looks like it would be good for men's design, I'm trying to think about picking it up because he likes it. So, and I don't have a lot of beads in my stash at the moment that are good for men, or both really. Suzanne says druzy. No, they're not druzy. They're more of like a an etching on them to create a pattern. I feel like it's Divi, D-I-V-I, or Dizzy, D-I-Z-I. But druzy's always really pretty. I tend to use seed beads and delicas a lot as little spacers or little tiny pops of color. Do you guys do that at all? I mean, I don't bead weave very often, but I love having little tiny beads around for just using them as little spacers. Yellow is one color. I do not have any necklaces in my closet. I couldn't believe it. Zero necklaces. So now I'm gonna have one. I'm excited about that. Is yellow a color you have in your closet? I mean, I have some citrine earrings and stuff, but I guess I just never did a necklace. Ah, Pamela, yes, DZI. It's pronounced Z. Okay, thank you. All right, so after I got my little pattern going here, let me show you guys this a little closer so you can see how it's all came together. And again, all of these bigger beads are strung on both the wires, and then the little beads are just one on each, and then double, and then one on each, and then double. And then at the end, I just finished off where I wanted it to be with some seed beads. You can just leave this as wire too. I've done that a lot, but since it wasn't that much space, I decided I would just bead it up. I ended up with this design being 20 inches. So after you bead up this part here, you would just add your lobster clasp on this end. I'm not gonna make you guys sit through that part, but you would just add your lobster clasp here, loop that around, and then your clasp would connect there. And let me show you. This is a design that is also in Seed Bead Revolution, and it's similar in its concept. So it's got a bottom there, and then it uses those little tilas, and this is using the antique brass color beading wire also. So you're just going through a 2-hole bead, the 1-hole bead, all the way up. And in this case, I did just leave the wire. This was a longer necklace. It had more wire in the back. So instead of beading it up, I just left that as it was, and that worked out just fine. In that case. So what you'll do next is we're gonna add a little dangle earring to go with it. I got this little tassel out of one of my Jesse James bead mixes, one of the exclusive mixes that we do each month. They always seem to have some sort of tassel, and I don't always get to use them. So this was a yellow one I've had saved. It's a sweet little flower tassel. So after you're done with your necklace and you add your clasp here, when you cut off your excess wire, you'll have just enough to make yourself an earring. So you'll have about that much. Karen's asking, what size of the seed bead is good to use as a spacer? Honestly, I think you can use any size. These are like one of the smallest sizes you can go, which looks like this. And this is a delica size 11. There may even be smaller ones, but this is the smallest size I have. And then I have seed beads all the way up to something like this, which is pretty large. And I think I pulled this one out because this one could have worked really well as a spacer too. So I really just go to my seed bead stash and I pay attention to the color more than the size, because I feel like any size would work. Usually with the beads that I'm working with, because the beads are usually pretty large. Suzanne says 11s, but 15s are the smallest. Holy moly. 15 would be really tiny, because like this little guy here is so small already. Did I get it on there? Okay. So I've got the tassel, I've got those 2 tiny little beads. If I had a larger seed bead in the same color, I probably would have used that too. So, so I really just pay attention to the color more than the size. I think you can get away with any size when you're using it as a little spacer. So for this one, I just did one of those beads, and then I did 2 delicas. Mary uses 15, some more than others. They might be 15. Yeah, they're pretty small. I think they're like 1 millimeter in size, but they could possibly be smaller. They are definitely the smallest I have out of all the ones I've got. So maybe they are a 15. How many did I put? I put 3. Okay, so I've got my tassel. I've got one delica, this guy, two delicas, this guy, three. And Karen says, thank you. If it's too small, the beads would be on the floor. Yes, I get that. And I've lost lots and lots of little seed beads, and those are definitely beads I do not usually pick up off the floor because I mean, if I was a lot of, like I said, I just use them as spacers, so I don't always need as many as that come in a bag. But if you're doing a project where you need them all, that would be hard. That would be really sad. And delica size 11 are smaller than size 11 seed beads. That is true. Because size 11 seed beads are actually kind of big. Size 11, all of them are falling. Size 11 delicas are tiny. I'm sure there's a chart out there on the interwebs that'll give you a good example of all the sizes. All right, so now that I'm done with that, I'm gonna add my 2 by 2 millimeter crimp down both strands of wire. And I'm gonna pick up the one I made earlier to see, checking the size of each bottom loop, which I think that looks pretty close. And then I'm gonna take the longer strand from the top, go back down the crimp, so now you've got a tail coming out both ends here. And you always want to check out your top loop also. See how this one's a little bit bigger? You want to make sure that your top loop matches too. Bye, Suzanne. Thanks for joining me. And we're going to go ahead and crimp that. Oh yeah, you can use acrylic paint to cover crimp beads too, and then glaze it to set. I'm sure that would work in a pinch, especially because if you're just covering tiny little crimp beads, I mean, they are pretty small, so you can get away with that, I'm sure. And then lastly, you're just gonna open up your earring. This is an antique brass little ear wire, and you can use a chain nose plier, or if you have a magical crimper, they've got a flat spot on the two front ends, so I sometimes just use it as a chain nose plier. Just twist it to the left or the right. You don't wanna pull it out because you'll mess up the shape of the loop, and then you'll just twist it back. Very similar to doing a jump ring. And there you have a pair of little dangle earrings to match. I'll finish this guy up off camera and add the clasp to it. And share it in our blog tutorial. If you guys don't know, I do blog on Tuesdays. After the video, I post sort of a recap over at softflexcompany.com, where you can see pictures of the designs that we did, and I link to the video again. And so you can always find that. I do that I usually post on Tuesdays. Occasionally I might not do it if it's a post that we plan to put in to something else, like maybe we're making a bigger blog later that week about something similar. But generally I post on Tuesday, and you can see the final design, and I show a bunch of different pictures, and I link back to the video again. So you can find our blog at softflexcompany.com. You just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the most recent 6 blog posts. Or you can go at the top, click on School of Design, and you can get to our blog that way. Let me turn you guys back up. There we go. And just say thank you for joining me today. This was a really fun project. And if you want to see how I did the patina paint on the pendant, again, I linked it at the bottom of this description, so you can go watch that video that I had done previously. I think I painted a bunch of different charms and stuff, so you can check that out. And this week, 20% off copper, antique brass, and champagne color beading wires up until tomorrow. That ends at tomorrow, midnight Pacific time. You can find all the details at softflexcompany.com. What do we have going on this week? We've got Sarah on Wednesday at 3 p.m. over on the Softflex Company Facebook page doing a tutorial with you guys. And then we have a beading party with Jesse James Beads that will be on Thursday, and I believe that's at 3 p.m. Pacific time, but that is over on the Jesse James Beads Facebook page. We will share, I'm sure, in the group and on our Facebook page at that time too, so you guys will be able to find it. But join Sarah on Wednesday and then join us again on Thursday, both at 3 p.m. Pacific time over on Facebook. I will see you guys next Monday, same time, 3 p.m. Pacific, for another episode of Free Spirit Beading. Thanks again for being here. Have a wonderful week, and thank you, Fern. And I'll share the final design over in the group as well as on the blog for tomorrow's post. All right, bye.